So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Rose. I think we have, so Scott, who is supposed to be with us today, something came up and he wasn't able to join on. So I'm going to pass things over to Rose, and she's going to talk a little bit more about energy. Let's see.
Thank you, Melissa. I am Rose Patzer, the Interim Executive Director for the Minnesota State Energy Center of Excellence. This is my third year, so I'll be rolling that into a permanent position probably by next summer sometime. And prior to that, I was faculty for Minnesota West Community and Technical College, and I worked as an advisor as well for students in ethanol, biodiesel production, and our energy technical specialist program. So I've been a teacher for about 15 years now, because I still teach a couple of courses in ethanol and biodiesel. And I know you all signed on because you wanted to hear about solar today. I am not a solar expert. I'm just going to be upfront with you on that. But I do want to share some stats we recently came across from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And I'm going to quote from their website out of their job outlook. And employment of solar photovoltaic installers is projected to grow 52%. 52%, you guys, from 2020 to 2030. It's much faster than the average for most of all other occupations. About 2,300 openings of solar photovoltaic installers are projected each year over that decade. And many of those openings are expected to result from the need to replace workers, who transfer to different occupations or exit the labor force, or, maybe they're just going to retire. So we're really looking at a very fast growing field in the solar. And, you can't drive on a highway in Minnesota and not see a solar array. I mean, and that has been within like the last 10 years. And even so, the last 5, it's just been amazing. So great opportunity. You're looking at about in the 40s to 50,000 starting wages for the solar field. And if you like to see the country, this would be a great field to get into as well. When we look at all of the information that Ashman shared with us, one of the things we have to be cognizant of with our renewable energies coming onto the grid, we're flooding the grid. The grid is totally subscribed. So we're working, or Excel Energy especially, but there's a lot of other different companies that are working toward improving that grid. And there's a project called CapEx 2050 that is expanded the grid into the North Dakota. It's mostly the west side of our state that the transmission lines are overburdened. So we have to be cognizant of that. And that's why when Ashman speaks to battery storage and that kind of thing, that's a fast growing industry as well. And a lot of research going on in that area. The reason that I got into the energy field as a rule, it pretty much landed into it. I was an older student, college student, non-traditional. And here at SMSU in Marshall, they have what's an organization called the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute. And I, as a chemist in my undergrad degree, was able to be the lab intern and then moved all the way up to an associate scientist working with renewable energies that had an agricultural base, and especially ethanol, and especially biodiesel, and then your solid agricultural biomass products as well. So we did a lot of combustion studies. And I was at one of the plants helping them start up actually, and they had a problem back in the line somewhere. I was working in the lab, helping the lab person get set up. And nobody knew what was wrong, why the biodiesel wasn't clear. It should have been a pure product, should have been testing perfectly, and it didn't. And that's when I realized it's really important to educate the workforce. And so I just happened to be working on the Minnesota Renewable Energy Roundtable, and at a meeting with a colleague of mine from Minnesota West, and I said, "You don't happen to have any teaching jobs there, do you?" And he said, "We do." And so, it was right up my alley, both the ethanol and the biodiesel. So it's been kind of fun. There's only 2 programs of that, or one of each, the biodiesel certificate and the bioethanol certificate, That's taught through Minnesota West. There are currently 3 campuses that offer a solar program. The solar certificate you can complete in 1 year, and there's some other ones that are shorter, and those are taught at Century College out of White Bear Lake. And then the other 2 campuses that have solar programs are looking into the Minnesota West campuses at both Canby and Jackson. So those are some of the solar opportunities. I think we're going to be seeing some new programs, new solar opportunities coming online at St. Cloud Technical College, as well as Minnesota State Wadena campus. So you can watch for opportunities to learn if you want. We're going to also work very closely with electrician programs, the 2-year electrician programs, and build a solar certificate in a customized offering that's not going to be in the semester setting. So we'll be working with that because electricians really are useful in the solar installs. We do have, we don't have no nuclear programs any longer in the state because the energy industries, especially Excel, they have the 2 nuclear plants. They train in-house. And let's see, Powerline, there's a number of colleges that offer that around the state. And what we're learning more about is the human interface machines, which is where the engineers come into play. Working with SCADA systems that actually you're operating your wind farm or your solar farm off of a computerized system. And electrical engineers are much needed for that as well. So with that, how much time do we have still? A little bit more. I enjoy working with students completely, and I think every energy faculty in our state does, and it's just so much fun to see the light bulbs go off when understanding happens. And the students in the energy fields get to work with their hands. Same with engineering, very much hands-on learning, challenging, sometimes very challenging, but very rewarding at the end of the day. And for my typical day used to be a lot of windshield time because this is a big state and meetings were happening at all the different campuses that provide energy programs, as well as just different conference and committee meetings. And so nowadays it's Zoom. So we Zoom a lot of meetings and I'm saving a lot of time behind that windshield. So I'm really happy for that. But I work with all things energy, not just renewable and not just your traditional power focus. So that's about all I can say for that.